Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. It is time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So as you can see, and if you saw the thumbnail, you saw it there too, the 64 Turquoise bus is back with its engine built and installed by Brian Roth over at Roth Vintage. And this customer really loves Porsche style fan shrouds, and so I think most of Brian Roth has built several motors and some buses for him in the past, and I think they've all pretty much had the same setup. So really bitchin' looking. Really looks like a little mini Porsche motor. The other thing that's kind of cool, which I think I'd seen before, but I don't think I'd seen before in person, is this sort of like log style air cleaner. It's a big round or cylinder shaped foam element. And basically the carburetors have hats on them like you would have on a turbo setup, but then instead of going to a turbo, in this case, they go to this big filter element. So pretty bitchin'. It's a very cool look. It's very, very Porsche looking too, I think, the air cleaner setup there. So, yep, again, 2110cc mild cam, good bus motor. Pretty much you want it to be torquey and not, like a real high RPM motor where you got to rev the piss out of it to get anything done. So, yeah, gorgeous. So, why don't we fire it up and have a listen? Because that's what you guys all really want, isn't it? Hear this thing. Make sure she's in neutral here so we don't have a mishap. Hear the fuel pump. All right, here we go. Not too loud. Sounds bitchin' though. Let's go back here. Grab my light. So, yeah. Give it a quick rev from back here. Pretty responsive. So there you go. Good stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off. So yeah, this bus is getting super close to being done. Needs the deluxe trim still. It needs its bumpers installed, which we have. They're painted, everything. It needs its apron installed. And then we need to finalize our wheel choice for it and get some wheels and tires on it. And then that's about it. Some other little odds and ends. He wants some fog lights on the front bumper that he really likes. I think he's had it on multiple buses in the past. So yeah, this thing should be done here before we know it. We'll probably go ahead and start focusing back on this one here in the coming days and try and finish her up. So that happened today, although we can't really claim much responsibility for that since Brian Roth did the motor and installed it. But there you go. So let's see what we worked on in our shop here. So as you can see, the tail lights are on the blue Manx. And the owner found these. These are original tail light housings that he had chromed. So very nice touch instead of using reproduction ones, although they'd probably look the same, but it's cool that they're original ones that have been chromed. So Rafa mounted those, and what else? Painted the rear drums. Since the rear brakes were such a mess, we went ahead and pulled the front brakes apart and inspected them, and they were actually fine. The only thing was the drums themselves were a little wore, so we went and had those remachined, put those back together, re-grease the bearings, all that good stuff. So that was that. And then, as you can see, the front turn indicators are on. These are what the owner picked out. They are actually Lucas lights. So, pretty cool. I think those are the main things Rafa did on this today. There might have been some other minor odds and ends, but pretty much the indicator lights and then the things with the brakes. So I think Rafa said tomorrow he's gonna get back on our red buggy here, so that'll be cool. We'll see what he's got in store. I think he's gonna finish the dash tomorrow. We got the fuel gauge for it, and then we have the trim and stuff to finish that out, steering wheel and horn, all that stuff. So yeah, I think he's gonna get back to this one tomorrow. So how about me? What did I do? I run a bunch of errands today, which is the least exciting thing ever, but got to do it sometimes. And then worked on this guy. So a couple things here. Let me go ahead and pull this motor out if I can so I can show you what I did here. So I needed to route a couple things under the motor. Those are the O2 sensor and then the pickup for the crank position sensor. I wanted to run those under the motor. And so finally what I came up with is to put a little grommet here in the cylinder tin and then run those through there, and then the front motor plate, front motor tin, which is the one that goes here, then kind of like butts up against that and holds it from potentially coming out. So there you go, did that. Took a while to trim everything and make it nice, but pretty neat installation, I think. And then on this end of the motor, let's see if I can find it over here. I cut a nice round hole in it, and that is for the pickup for the crank position sensor. I'm gonna get this on here with one hand here. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. Let's see. There it goes. Okay, so anyway, yeah, you can see, managed to get it pretty well centered there. So there's that. Yeah, there we go. See? Took a bunch of measurements and, measure twice, cut once deal, and got it pretty dead on centered. So that picks up a couple of pieces of steel on the aluminum crank as they spin around, and tells the EFI system where in its rotation the crank is, and also helps it understand RPMs and stuff like that. So did that, and then started plumbing the fuel lines. So far I have the fuel line which goes from one fuel rail to the other. So my plan is I'm going to come in from the fuel pump to here, and then it runs through here, across the back of the motor, well, front of the motor technically, and then through this fuel rail, and then out the front of this fuel rail toward the back of the car. That is going to go to the fuel pressure regulator, which you can probably not really see there in the dark. Let's see. Yeah, there it is. So that's going to go to that, and then from there it runs back to the tank because it's a fuel injection. It has a system with a return on it. So speaking of the gas tank, if you can see through those holes there, it is mounted. I still have to connect it to the filler up on that end, but it's all bolted down. It's kind of a pain in the ass. You literally have to like crawl into the bus and like lay underneath where the back seat would go and just wrestle with it. And it's kind of a huge pain in the butt, but it's in now. So thank goodness for that. I hope to not have to do that again anytime soon. But yeah, pretty much just like laying here, working up underneath there to get it in, see with the straps and stuff there. And then I still have to connect the wires for the fuel pump, which is over there, and then the fuel gauge, which is there. Not a big deal. And then, like I said, I have to connect it to the filler right there. Also not a big deal compared to putting the whole thing in, which is an enormous pain in the ass. But it's in. So that's actually a pretty good milestone for this bus. So I think that's actually it for today, guys. So thank you for watching, and always enjoy you guys' comments, and always like to see likes on my videos. So thank you guys for all those things, and we will see you again tomorrow. Bye.